Hi everyone. I finally got some help in setting up a screencast account. There's some things that I've been wanting to share with everyone on YouTube. And I want to start by sharing a couple of Bible codes on Nibiru. But before I get into the Bible codes, I think it's important to understand that the Bible describes Jesus as a rock, and more particularly it describes his coming as a rock. And I'm going to post the link to these Bible verses in the description box. I'm not going to go over all of them, but I think it's very important to read the context of these scriptures and not just these scriptures to get a complete understanding. And if you don't read anything else, just make sure you read 1 Peter 2, and you may want to read Daniel 2 and Matthew 21. Especially this section around verse 44, to get a complete understanding of how the Bible describes Jesus as coming as a rock. And there's actually more scriptures that describe God as a rock. And of course, Jesus is God and God is Jesus. So all of these scriptures, there's 57 verses here about God as a rock. They all describe Jesus as well. So it's important to understand that the Bible describes God and Jesus as being a rock of refuge. So for those of us who are waiting for his return, he's a stone that's precious. He's the chief cornerstone of God's temple, and he's also a place of refuge. But for those who do not believe in him and who have rejected him, he is a stone of stumbling and a rock of offense, and he crushes everyone into powder. Where's Matthew 21:44? Right here. And he who falls on this stone will be broken to pieces, but on whomever it falls, it will scatter him like dust. So, on the one hand, Jesus is a stone of protection and refuge. A stone is very strong and powerful, and it can protect us. But for anyone who rejects him, it can easily be just as powerful in terms of destruction. So you want to make sure that you're in Christ, and he comes as a place of refuge and not as a stone of destruction. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the Bible codes now. If you will notice, let me go over here. The word Nibiru, if you put it into this website, Bible Code Wisdom, okay. If you'll notice, it comes up, there's two matches. One comes straight up and down like this, and then the other one comes across this way. It's a much shorter skip in this one. And in the first match, this is in the book of Joshua, and the second match is in the book of Peter. So it's very interesting that Joshua means Jesus and Peter means rock. So that's exactly what, the Bible tells us, that Jesus is going to come as a rock. So I'm going to get into the first Bible code. There's a lot of other terms that come up besides Nibiru. These are just the ones that I put in this table. Nibiru, star, headstone, came, earth, from, heaven. But there's many other terms. I might put those in the description box that also come up as well. And all you need to do to get the other terms to come up is you can just back out some of the terms at the end and just replace them with other terms, and you'll see all the other terms come up as well. But I'm just going to go over what comes up just in the plain text. Is pretty amazing. over here at the top, it has the phrase, the avenger of blood. And within that phrase, you have the word heaven. Heaven is not the actual word that's in this phrase, but it just gets created because of the abacus effect, by the words being pushed together and creating other words. So you have heaven at the top, and you also have the same phrase at the bottom, the avenger of blood, and within that you also have the word heaven. And of course we have from in ELS terms, you know, right here, F-R-O-M. And this matrix, like I said, it's in the book of Joshua, and the context seems to be all about judgment. You have the word judgment here. But it also speaks about fleeing. You see the word flee right here, and you see the word fled right here. Over here you have in the wilderness, and over here you have the phrase out of the trib. Okay, and there's a lot of interesting phrases that come up, and not only are the phrases interesting, but the entire scriptures are interesting. So you may want to read over all of these scriptures that come up in this matrix. I think this one right here pretty much sums everything up. And he shall flee unto one of these cities, and shall stand at the entrance of the gate of the city, and declare his cause in the ears of the elders of that city, and they shall take him into the city unto them, and give him a place that he may dwell among them. This, of course, speaks of Jesus coming as a rock of refuge. But like I said, he also comes as a rock of offense. And you see that with these terms such as the avenger of blood and judgment. There's another code that I want to show you. This is in the same matrix. I believe it's this one. No, this is the other matrix. Let's go over here. This is pretty much the same matrix. It's just shifted over a little bit. But if you notice some of the terms that come up in this one, they're very interesting as well. You see the high priest over here. Of course, we know Jesus is the high priest. And then over here it says, return and come unto his own. Right here. And over here you see the city of Galilee, the hill country of Ephraim. Ephraim represents the Gentiles, and it also speaks of Judah, and I don't know if it mentions all 12 tribes in here, but it mentions many of the tribes. Over here it says of the Levites, and the Levites are the set apart ones. And if you go back to this table, you'll see the term set apart right here. And holy also comes up in ELS terms. And I forgot to mention this earlier, but not only does it have from heaven, but it also has came, earth, here at the bottom. And the word earth is created as an abacus effect. That's not the actual word that's in there. It actually says came near the heads of. But you could also interpret that as came near the earth. And I don't know if you've seen some of the videos that are out on YouTube where people are witnessing lights. I think this is a good example of one right here, one that's I think pretty reliable, where there's a light that appears to be approaching the earth. And it's pretty unexplainable what that light is. And there's been many sightings all around the world of different lights, or, a light that appears in the sky that is unidentified. So it does appear that, that Jesus is getting near. I can't give you a day or an hour or when it's going to happen exactly, but it does look like it's at the point where it is near right now. And I just want to show you this other Bible code. And this one, Nibiru, comes across with a shorter skip. And over here you see the word wrath. And over here you have the word star. And some of the other terms that I had put in are Nibiru, star, God, wrath, rain, fire, hail, ice, dead rise. All of these terms come up. And in this one, you have the word anger right here. Of course, the actual word was stranger, but you see the word anger, which means the same thing as wrath. So I think these Bible codes pretty much depict what the scriptures tell us about Jesus coming back. And like I said, I find it interesting that one is in the book of Joshua, which means Jesus, and the other one is in the book of Peter, which means rock. And also this one speaks of Joshua, the son of Nun, and that is a picture of Jesus. I have some information here about the letter Nun. You may want to, I'll put this link in the description box as well, and you may want to take a look at this link. But you especially want to look at the part where it talks about Yeshua and the letter Nun to understand what all that represents. But as I said before, I can't give you a day or an hour. It does appear to be near. There's other tables in the Hebrew that do give dates, but I don't really know how to pull up a date in the English. But I think this is pretty remarkable just as it is. And I just wanted to share that with you. And thanks for watching.